Welcome back to West Texas View.
Welcome back to our program. Dr. Bobby Jane and I have been discussing stress and stress management, and he was talking about how exercise, not just walking around doing your chores, but really doing aerobic exercises and other kinds where you're bringing up your heart rate, is what is so important to combat stress and build up your resistance. But also, you mentioned another thing just briefly, and that's time out or taking some other kinds of therapy. And so how, when I take a vacation, that almost creates more stress.
And that's a very good question. And in our culture, it becomes like, hey, if I'm getting stressed out, I need a vacation. It's almost like it's built up in our lingo and our vocabulary that dealing stress is vacation. So a lot of times I get asked, do we have to take a vacation to be able to be stress-free or rejuvenate? The answer is yes and no. Vacation particularly can be itself a bit stressful thing, just like a good thing can be a stressful thing, too much of a good thing. But vacation can be a stressful thing, particularly for folks who are have a very set full life period, like someone who works in an office setting and has to take an office time away, go to the go travel again.
Knowing that the office is going to be built up with more work when they get home.
And when it comes back, and when you come back, it hits you back. So all the possible gains you have had during your vacation, it's undone within a couple of days. It's a yes and no situation. But my theory is that the fact that how many times can you take a vacation? Once in a year, maybe twice in a year. We have to develop a way, and stress is always 24/7. Stress doesn't take a vacation.
Right.
So my theory is that we have to individually develop, and it's very individual for other people, to find a way of dealing with stressful situations that you can incorporate in your daily living.
Which might be meditation.
Just give me a number of things. Just like you use your batteries, you charge your cell phone battery during the daytime. By the evening time, you charge it, and the next day it's ready to go. Right? You don't take your cell phone off for charge for 2 weeks and then try to not charge it and use it for 2 weeks. It doesn't work that way. I think the body is exactly the same way. If you're exposing your body to a stressful situation, which is inevitable, you really need to charge the body every single day. And what we can possibly do, again, I'll go back to number one, exercise, regular on a daily basis. Other things that you can do that it relaxes you, listening to music, spending time with your family. Family values are so very important. Other thing that you mentioned is meditation, which is so not incorporated in our society, which is of course it's a kind of Eastern concept. But it's a very difficult thing to start with, but rewards of meditation and solitude, particularly being alone yourself, and religion, praying. I'm not a very religious person myself. I am getting involved in more religion and praying, not for my own spiritual growth, but I found the effect of solitude and praying and talking to God.
And an attitude of gratitude.
In an attitude of gratitude. It is something about talking to God and being by yourself and communicating in the fellowship that you have by yourself that brings peace of mind, rejuvenates yourself. And again, it has to be a combination of different things, but it has to be very individual, but it has to be on a regular basis, not just once or twice a year or twice a week. It has to be on a regular basis in order to circumvent or prevent the ill effects of stress.
That one of the examples in my own life that I learned to deal with stress is my first husband had a terminal illness and was very, very in a great deal of pain. And going through that was the most stressful time in my life. And I normally handle stress really well, but the way I handled it was just to tense up. And the muscles in my neck and even my hands were sore from squeezing them so hard. And that's when I got involved in yoga. I had never done yoga before, and I got involved in that, and that was the most stress-releasing thing that I had gotten into in a long time.
Absolutely. I come from a country where the yoga originated about 5,000, 6,000 years ago, and the only reason it has survived this long is because it has got its value. It has chronically shown that yoga has extreme benefit in number of physical and emotional problems, particularly with stressful situations.
Yeah, and you can just feel your muscles untensing.
Absolutely, absolutely. I myself tend to do yoga, not as regularly as I would like to, but every time you do yoga, and then not to have yoga, Tai Chi or Pilates or any form of exercise, I would regard as a form of exercise. Again, very, very rejuvenating for that. And that's something it's very important to do.
But you can do that at home. You don't have to go to a gym and
work
work out with weights.
Right. If you're self-disciplined yourself to do it.
Yeah, and so a lot of times people use the excuse, well, I can't go to a gym and I don't have any equipment at home and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that was the answer, because I couldn't go to the gym either.
Yeah.
But you know, when a child is stressed, and see, it was hard for me to understand that a child could be stressed out. But you know, if a child looks around and knows that they're not doing well in school in comparison to the other students, maybe because they can't focus or they have dyslexia or any kind of, your mind has to tell you that would be stressful to that child.
Yeah.
And they don't have the vocabulary to come and say, Mom, Dad, this is why I'm all misbehaving, is because I'm trying to get some kind of attention, whether it's bad attention.
Yeah. And absolutely right. Children are not immune to stress. This is a very important point. And as you said, children cannot verbalize what they're there. So it comes out as a manifestation. Most common manifestation is actually behavior, particularly when you see sudden changes in behaviors. And there can be very stressful things, particularly stress at home, parents fighting, parents going through divorce, or there's been abuse, or any moving, parents losing job, downsizing their expenses, losing things, or death of a pet, for example, that can be extremely stressful for the kids. Or grandparent,
really
they're attached to grandparents. Death of a grandparent. So these are extremely important things, and a lot of these times, the biggest manifestation you see in children is having behavior problems and struggling with things, particularly like school and learning, which they used to do so well. You see sudden drop in their behavior, sudden drop in their grades, sudden problems, more aggression, more irritability, more moodiness. That's probably an experience and the manifestation of stressful situations.
So we have spent a whole program talking about stress, and that just indicates the real importance of this subject. We certainly welcome your comments. Be sure and email me if you have anything that you'd like to say. We're going to ask Dr. Jane to come back anytime he's got some free time. Thank you so much for joining our program today. We'll see you next Sunday with another program.
Thanks for joining us for News West 9's West Texas View with Johnny Lou Avery. This has been a public affairs presentation of KWAB-TV and KWES-TV.